Guys, my on the air sign broke. It's gonna look barren up there. I guess I could leave it up there, but it just won't light up. It's just there. Hi everybody, my name's King Noosme. I asked you guys what episode of My Babysitter's a Vampire you wanted to see, and you guys voted for Guys and Dolls. My Babysitter's a Vampire is a show that only lasted for 2 seasons with 26 episodes in total. It originally aired on a Canadian channel called Teletoon, but later our favorite corporate overlords Disney bought the rights to the movie and the show. And it aired on the Disney Channel, where it became the most watched kids cable show that summer. And it's no surprise either, the show is a ton of fun. It doesn't only have vampires either. There's magic, ghosts, killer plants, evil relics, and many kids were already fans of the movie that was released before the show. And the awesome theme song always helps. I'm going to play that song in every video I talk about this. Be warned. Even though it was really popular, they canceled the show after just 2 seasons. And for the strangest reason as well. I'll let you look that up. It was also the first ever, and I think only Disney Channel show to have a PG rating and not just a G rating. So it wasn't afraid to push boundaries sometimes. Today we're taking a look at the 4th episode of the 1st season called Guys and Dolls. It's one of the most memorable episodes of the show because of how insane and weird it is. And some of you guys said that it actually scared you a lot as a kid, but I just think it's really silly. It's actually inspired by the Disney movie Life Size with Lindsay Lohan and Tyra Banks, but they put a little horror twist on the plot of that movie, and that makes it a whole lot of fun. But anyways, let's quit yapping and get into the episode. The episode starts at Ethan's house, and there's that damn ghost again! Benny busts into Ethan's room because he got the new most awesome video game.
Knights of Ninjutsu 4.
God, sometimes I wish these fake video games and movies and TV shows were actually real. You know how awesome Knights of Ninjutsu sounds? I mean, I want to sneak around castles like a ninja, but the clanking of my armor alerts the guards to my position, so I have to dive in headfirst, throwing shurikens and kunai at them, but then I run out of those, so I have to pull out my giant claymore and start chopping heads off. It would be so much fun. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, we cut to Sarah and Ethan's little sister Jane. One of Jane's dolls somehow broke and she is really bummed about it. Even though it just looks like she twisted the leg a little bit too much. You can just twist it back, you know? Wait a second, it looks normal now. No, I thought the leg was fine. Don't try to hide it with your hand. But Sarah has to walk away to do some babysitter something or another, and Jane hears Ethan and Benny yelling about something from their room. So being the curious little girl that she is, she goes to investigate it. The boys are so hyped to play their new game, but Ethan's shitty old console is broken. Again. Luckily, Ethan is a tech geek and knows exactly how to fix it, but Benny recommends they just use a reparation spell so it won't ever break again. Because Jane is eavesdropping, she overhears about this magic reparation spell, and since Ethan is smart enough to fix the console on his own, she decides to borrow Benny's spell book for just 1 second. She takes it back to her room and
Glondo from Framundo Vella
brings her doll to life.
Ethan, you're gonna want to see this!
I never understood why they showed Jane using magic a couple of times throughout the show, but they always try to downplay her magic abilities like it was accidental or something. I mean, she obviously has the powers to. Someone can train her and then she'll be awesome. Get Benny's grandmother on it. She knows what to do. The boys come in to see what's going on and how they're going to fix it. They're understandably pretty shocked when they see a real-life Debbie Dazzle doll in front of them. Well, Ethan is shocked. Benny is excited. A little too excited. Jane tells Ethan that she tried to use a repair spell to fix her leg, but instead she turned her into a real girl. And when Ethan talks about trying to turn her back into a doll, she gets a little upset. She says that she doesn't want to go back. It's boring and sucks being a doll, and she'll do anything to stay a person. Kind of an opposite of Toy Story. Those dolls were having a blast. Of course, Jane loves that Debbie is real now, so she promises to not let anybody turn her back into a doll. And then they go have a cupcake dance party, because why not? Another thing that Benny is once again a little too excited for. Sadly, he won't be able to join them because he's forced to fix this whole thing. Benny says that it's pretty obvious Jane didn't use the reparation spell, and he doesn't know which one she did use. So it's gonna take a minute for him to figure out what spell she used to turn her back. And about an hour later, Benny comes downstairs to see an absolute mess in the kitchen. And also a fun little Easter egg that I haven't seen anybody talk about. You can see someone wrote Doug was here in chalk on the background. This is probably a reference to Doug Falconhawk in the episode Doug the Vampire Hunter, but he doesn't appear until the 10th episode in the season, so he must know that vampires hang out here pretty regularly. You can also see a Doug Falconhawk calendar in Ethan's room, so he must be a big fan. Anyways, Benny says that he can't find the spell that she used to turn her back into a doll. And that's kind of bad because Ethan's parents are going to be home very soon, So while they talk about what they're gonna do when his parents do get home, they send Jane and the doll upstairs to change because they're a little messy. And that's when something strange happens to Debbie. She hunches over in pain and grabs Ethan, which gives him a vision of fruit decaying. I could have told you that was gonna happen. You don't really have to see into the future to know that. But then in an instant, Debbie just stands up like she's completely okay, and they move on like nothing happened. But now Ethan's feeling pretty woozy. Ethan says that Debbie has to steal life from other people in order to keep her human form, and she does it by touching people. You got all that from fruit decaying? What? But now that they know what keeps her alive, they can just keep her away from people for a while, and then she'll slowly turn back into a doll by herself. So they head upstairs to lure Debbie away from Jane by saying there's accessories in the other room. And then they lock her into Ethan's room using a jump rope. Also, Rory comes to hang out, but they have more important things to do, so they kindly tell him they can't hang out tonight. But instead of going home,
Hey, Ethan?
he just flies up to Ethan's window. He overheard that they were playing the new Knights of Ninjutsu 4, and he wants to play with them. But instead of being greeted by a smelly teen, he's greeted by a pretty girl.
You're much hotter than Ethan.
And of course, Rory isn't gonna let a pretty girl be alone, so she invites him in and they get acquainted with each other.
Rory, or the Roarster, our money, our dog, Roarinator, Roarmaster, or Batman.
Okay, no one calls you Batman. And while that happens upstairs, Ethan's parents come home and Sarah tries to distract them while the boys clean up the mess in the kitchen. Even though just 2 seconds later, she tells them that they were making cupcakes, so I'm pretty sure they would have understood if the kitchen was a little messy. But this was mainly to get the parents upstairs so that they can see a random jump rope tied to Ethan's door. This is obviously not normal, so they untie the rope to the door and discover a girl in Ethan's room, which you could probably guess doesn't happen very often. So they're pretty shocked. But sadly for them, Debbie is running out of juice, so she uses them to fully recharge. Then Rory comes back to pick her up and take her away for some fun for the night, and Ethan and Benny make it back into his room to find his parents have been turned into dolls. The next day, we learn that they had no luck finding Debbie the night before. But Benny thinks that he found the spell that will turn her back into a doll, and that's great news. But Jane could have said the spell wrong, so she has to be the one to say it and reverse it. But while they discuss what they're gonna do over there, Rory and Debbie have their own conversation just down the hall. It's been a hot minute since she's recharged, so her plastic bones are starting to hurt once again. So she asks Rory if he knows how to fix a broken toy, but he tells her that he would usually just send it back to the manufacturer because they know what they're doing. And she finds his massively tiny brain very attractive. Well, that and his impeccable riz.
You smell like a Rubik's Cube.
Sadly, their makeout session gets cut short when Principal Hicks catches them in the hallway during class. He tells Rory to get to class since he has his ID card, but since she doesn't have one, Debbie's gonna have to come with him to his office. And once they make it to his office, she fakes like she's in pain to lure him very close, so she can use him for his life energy. Not gonna lie, his doll looks like the Inside Out dad. Does it not? Later, Ethan and Benny apologize to Rory for blowing him off the night before, but he's not mad at them at all. He got a new girlfriend because of it, so it's an ultimate win for him. And this is when they put a few puzzle pieces together and figure out that Rory was the one who let Debbie escape, and they try to warn him that she's not real, but that doesn't go so well.
Dude, she's a doll. I mean, literally, a doll.
But as they're trying to warn Rory, Debbie sneaks up on them. She seems to think that they're all friends, but they make it pretty clear that they're scared of her. They threaten to take her with them so that she can't hurt anyone else, but Rory isn't gonna let that happen. And since their backs are against the wall, there is only one way to fix it.
Sarah.
The boys make a plan to separate Rory and Debbie, but they're going to need Sarah's help. They ask Sarah to convince Rory's longtime crush, Erica, to distract him from Debbie so that they can grab her. So Erica does her flirty thing and tells Rory that she will allow him to take her out to dinner, and of course he says,
Nah, I don't think so.
"Oh!" He tells her that she had her chance, but he's over her now because he's found his soulmate, which makes Erica really, really mad. The hell kind of sound effect was that? Sounds like they ripped it right off of my instance. Erica storms away from the two, and Debbie doesn't like anyone talking to her new man, so she follows her into the bathroom to give her a piece of her mind. But luckily, Erica gets to jump on her and bites her.
Ow!
Oh yeah, she's plastic. Well, Erica's a vampire, so she's super strong, so she just uses her brute force to shove Debbie into the stall, ruining her pretty doll face. And this just makes Debbie even more mad, so needless to say, she gets turned into more battery power. and a cute little Barbie doll. Debbie heads back to Rory and asks if he can help her fix this limp and now her face. But Debbie isn't as pretty as she was 5 seconds ago, so Rory breaks up with her.
I think we should see other faces. People! I meant people.
Dang, bro. I love ya, but that's super shallow just because she got a little cut on her face. She does look kind of horrific. Never mind. Cut back to the group, and they think Erica bailed on them. If only they knew the truth. And now they're gonna have to come up with another plan. They run into Rory in the hallway, and he tells them that Debbie has gone crazy. She looks insane, and now she keeps talking about seeing the one who made her. And he has no idea what she's talking about. But the only person that they can think of that she's talking about is Jane. After school, Sarah runs to pick up Jane, and then she tricks her into playing hide and seek so that they can capture Debbie. But that also doesn't go as planned. Debbie makes her way inside the house and absolutely tanks a punch from Sarah, and then drains enough of her life force so that she can't fight back. God, I feel like I'm watching a series of unfortunate events. Nothing is going right for this group. Luckily, Sarah is a tough girl, and she gains the strength to push Debbie down the stairs. I love this scene because you could see the wig almost falling off the stunt actor's head. She does save it though. Somehow, but that was a close call. And now with Debbie, incapacitated? Or should I say decapitated? The boys can now figure out how to turn her back because
nothing can do anything without a head.
Looks like you spoke too soon, buddy. Debbie re-equips her noggin, and Ethan and Benny are gonna have to head upstairs and quickly figure out the spell, while Sarah stays back and fights Debbie for a while. Well, that didn't last long. God, Debbie really is a force of nature. She could like take over the world if she wanted to. I think she's like the scariest enemy so far in this show. While Benny tries to get information out of Jane, Ethan comes up with a plan to try and convince her to change back into a doll without having to use magic. And that's dressing like her boyfriend Dazzle Dan. This is probably the best plan he's had all episode. He begs Debbie to turn back into a doll and be with him. But just like before, she says she doesn't want to be a doll. It's boring and it sucks and it's lame and she hates it. That is until Ethan convinces her by asking one simple question.
Do you want to have to work at a job?
No one wants a job, so she is almost convinced. Until Ethan fucks it up. He offers to take her on a ride on his speedboat. And everyone knows Dazzle Dan has a hover yacht, you idiot. And Debbie doesn't like being tricked, so she grabs Ethan by the throat and begins to choke him out. Luckily, Jane busts out of the closet and quickly says the spell, turning Debbie back into a doll. But hey, her legs and face are fixed now. And since the spell was reversed, everyone Debbie turned into a doll gets turned back into human. And each of them have no recollection about what happened to them before, so they don't even know she existed. And luckily for them, this means that Ethan won't get grounded this time. And the episode ends with a disco beach party, and of course, Debbie joins them. I don't know if that's good or not. And that's the end of the episode. I forgot how fun this show is. I also forgot how absolutely insane it can be at times. This is one of the weirder episodes, but it can get a little weirder here on out. Okay, so this episode is actually pretty good. The show has some pretty dumb episodes that are just there to have fun, which is completely okay. I love dumb fun, but this episode does a pretty good job at keeping things a little spooky while also having a lot of fun. At first, you think it's gonna be an episode where they just have to hide a living doll from the world for a little bit. Maybe Benny falls in love with it and refuses to change her back. Let's be honest, that would have absolutely happened if they went that way. But the twist where she has to suck the life force out of people to live is pretty crazy. And her powers seriously make Debbie pretty scary, and her messed up doll face doesn't help either. Imagine if she escaped into the world and no one else knew her power. How would they even stop her? Even if you knock her head off, she still will get up and put it back on. Now what would the killer clowns do?
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
They can't knock your block off. And her victims turn into dolls as well. What the heck? If only the doll form could like see and hear what's going on, that would just make it a little bit scarier. On a serious note, Debbie does get to be pretty scary towards the end of the episode. And I can see why some of you guys said this episode absolutely terrified you as a kid. She was very unhinged, to say the least. Overall, I think it's a good episode. It was intended to be dumb and fun, and it absolutely did that. And it does feel like the ending was a bit rushed, like they didn't really know what to do. And I really don't like how they just made Rory leave her because her face is messed up. Usually Rory is a like ride or die for his girls, but this time he just gave up a little too easily. They probably just got what they needed out of him in his story, so they were like, he leaves her, you know, it's easier that way. Just take the lazy way out, you know? And like I said earlier, I wish they showed more of Jane and like her magical abilities. This is the second time in the series that she's done magic. And they kind of just like, man, she does it here and there, you know? Like, what if she's the reason they get saved? Well, I guess she was the reason they got saved in this episode. Never mind. Actually, she saved them in the movie as well. Her and her grandma. Dang, Jane is like the hero of the story. I'm just noticing this. Another thing I do like about this episode is I like how they dressed up Ethan like the Ken doll. Probably the best best part of the episode. It's the funniest part by far. I mean, look at my boy. He's styling. Too bad he gets choked out 5 seconds later. But that's all I got for you today. Let me know what you think about the episode. I have a Patreon. The $5 members get bonus content plus videos a day early, maybe some pictures of my cats, a Discord server, and your name right here on screen. Like the video if you like the video. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. I appreciate you all, and peace.